Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing great. Welcome to the next session of your Strategic Business Leader. So before we start with today's session, let's quickly take up round of any queries if there are. Any doubts, guys, in the session that we had yesterday? It finished off the concepts of strategy chapter. I'm just opening up my practice and revision kit. Just to start off with question practice from the same chapter. But before that, if anybody has any doubt regarding the topic that we had covered in yesterday's class, please feel free to ask your queries. Okay, let me just shrink the size of the book also a little bit. Yep, easy to read. So what we're going to do here is refer to this table here on page 5 of your practice and revision kit. So we had started off with this chapter here, concepts of strategy, right? So what I'm going to do is just go one page back. And here we are. So this basically covers up the entire section that how the questions are going to be developed. So section 1 is going to be towards your knowledge development. Section B questions, section 2 questions are towards your professional skills development. And then section 3 questions are all towards your exam success. So slowly and gradually we will reach towards your mock exam practice as well. Right? So there we are. What I'm going to do is open up the question index and start off with the first topic that we've done here, which is called concepts of strategy. So let me just mark that in green that we've covered this topic from your workbooks. And question number 12 to 17 is what you can do now. So what we will do, we will take up any random question. Any particular question you want me to take up, please feel free to let me know. So this particular thing here. So this basically talks about all the topic-wise bifurcation and how the related questions to it are there in your book as well. So this is another topic-wise bifurcation. So if you look at it, all of these are the topics that we have just literally, I mean, we've only just done like the first chapter of it. So it's obviously way too early. But what I want to do is just show you the kind of questions which are there. So strategic management process, the process per se is what we literally started off with. I will not open up the questions as of now. Why? Because what I want to give you is, kind of a sound knowledge of the topic so that when you actually open up a question, you are far more confident on the topic that we have done so far. So what we will do is we will just quickly have a look at the related topics. There we are. Guys, I'm waiting for any queries if you have regarding yesterday's session, any particular topic you want me to repeat? Or should I just proceed with today's session? I'll just stop this sharing for a minute because what I will do, I will open up the PPT as well. And then we can start. We will be doing question practice as well, but I just want to make sure that, yes, theoretically, we've covered a little bit of more content so that you become confident on what we are starting off with. So beginning with the first topic here, which is about strategic analysis. Let me just quickly open up my relevant questions on it as well. Yeah, let me just go back to sharing my screen. Okay, something in the chat box. All good, says Pearl. Okay, wonderful, Pearl. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Because now what I'm going to do is start off with strategic analysis. The reason why I'm starting off with this is then at least your horizon will be a little bit more broad and we can jump into questions with more clarity on concepts. Yesterday's session was just only to kind of just, introduce the subject itself. We just did a very, very base topic of the concept of strategy, and the JSW model is all that we literally, went ahead with. So I can mark the question for you, but however, I personally feel that once we are done the couple of more questions, that will be a better time to start with question practice. But we will be definitely doing it because what I want you to do is have a look at it simultaneously with me as well. So this is how we'll be covering the topics. As we will cover a particular topic, I will be marking it here on your practice and revision kit so that you will know that we've covered this topic in the question in the class with some questions on it, and the remaining questions you obviously have to, you are good enough to go ahead with the remaining questions. So let's start with the overall concept of strategic analysis. Let me just go on a full screen. Yeah. Right. So this is a very, very interesting topic. This is a very important topic as well from your exams perspective. Why? Because yesterday I just only introduced one model, right, which is the JSW model. But in today's class, I'm going to go full blown out in terms of the number of models that I'm going to introduce to you, which will, vary from the different techniques that you can actually apply in order to perform your strategic analysis. Now, this analysis, whenever, you're trying to analyze the strategies of the organization, obviously, this analysis can be an internal analysis and this analysis can be an external analysis as well. When we talk about an external analysis, we're obviously talking about factors which are not within the boundaries of the organization, right? These are external. So these are environmental analysis, you can say. So something that, helps you analyze the environment, the external environment outside the organization, and how these factors actually impact our strategy as well. Do you think it actually impacts? So tell me, before I actually start with it, tell me, what do you reckon are the external forces that can actually impact the organization's strategy and decision making? Any ideas? Who has the power externally to, literally impact that what decisions you are taking as an organization? The government, absolutely. Competition, yes. Political, yes. What else? The laws and regulations, yes. What else? Just broadly, just kind of scratch your head at what do you reckon? If you are running a business, obviously internally what decisions you are taking, what are your own strengths and weaknesses, what is your own mission and vision will obviously impact your strategy. But externally also, you cannot turn a blind side to what is happening externally. The environmental changes, the customers, the technology, market forces, government, yes. Very good points there given by the class. Economic changes in the form of restrictions for exchange of goods. So basically your policies, right? Forex, yes. Very well done, class. Very good points given by you. So yes, we do acknowledge the fact that any business doesn't run in isolation. We cannot prepare strategies for our business without looking at the fact that how our business gets impacted by external forces, by forces which are, which are environmental factors, we can say, which are outside our own domain within the organization. So to study that, we will be doing 3 models to begin with: the pestle analysis, the 5 forces model, and the Potter's diamond forces model. So the pestle analysis, the Potter's 5 forces model and the Potter's diamond model. Yes, these are all 3 external models that help us analyze the environment of an organization externally. However, when to apply which, obviously we have to, get a deeper understanding of which one of these models then you need to apply under which scenario. So yes, we will be having a look at each one of them separately and which one to apply when as well we will be having a look at. Then we will move on to some of the internal analysis that we need to do as an organization that helps us evaluate our strategies, and that impacts our strategic decision making as well, in terms of, okay, this is probably what I should go in for. Why? Because these are my core competencies, these are my capabilities as an organization, or probably this is what my own SWOT analysis tells me, that these are my strengths and weaknesses. Opportunities and threats are again linked to the external environment, but yes, you can call it a kind of a mixed bag approach. And then we will have a look at one more model, which is again given by Porter, so which is called the Porter's value chain analysis. So now broadly, I've just given you like a gist of what we will be heading into today. So first thing we need to understand is that yes, as managers, you need to prepare strategies for the organization. Your strategies, your decisions will be impacted by what is really that is happening in the organization. What is it that you're working towards in the organization? What is it that literally, impacts your strategies as an organization, both internally as well as externally in the organization? So just to set the tone of the first model, which is the PESTLE model, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first show you an introductory video of this. It's a very, very interesting video because like I told you, the way I like to teach is not just going through bookish knowledge or, just preparing a PPT and going through the theoretical concepts. I want to link each one of this concept to real life examples with you as well. And that is when I personally feel knowledge will literally, be passed on to you. Have a look at a couple of these videos. Please feel free to tell me whether you want me to continue showing you these videos, or do you not want to, have a look at these practical examples and would just rather stick to the, the traditional way of studying. I'll be more than happy to continue the way you want me to continue, right? So PESTLE model, PESTEL is an acronym which each one of it stands for one of the factors which impacts business and its decisions in terms of the strategy. So what I'm going to do is, you've already given me all of these factors. So I know for a fact that you understand that how the political environment, how the economic environment, the policies and all, the legal environment, the environmental environment, or, you can say the social environment, actually technological environment actually impacts businesses and its decisions. But what we will begin with first is having a look at a quick video on this, because that's how I really like. Let me know your thoughts on it as well. Just watch a couple of them.
Hi, my name is Mark Sal.
So first things first, we're going to do and have a look at a PESTLE analysis of a company we all love, which is the Nike. So let's quickly do a PESTLE analysis for Nike first.
And I'm a marketing expert working for myassignmenthelp.com. I'm going to enlighten you on how to conduct, through PESTLE analysis on Nike. But before moving on to the analysis, here's a little background on the company and its achievements. Brand value in 2019 globally, $32.4 billion US. Nike's net income worldwide, $4.03 billion US. Formerly known as Blue Ribbon Sports. Established by Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman. Established on January 25, 1964. Brand, Nike, world's largest supplier of athletic footwear and sports gear. Nike products, athletic footwear, apparels, athletic support equipments and accessories. Let's move on to talk about a detailed PESTLE analysis of the brand. Political factor. Business processes heavily depends on the type of government in a nation. An open-minded government and stable political environment present promising opportunities for business and growth for brands like Nike. The considerations on the political factors that positively influenced some of Nike's marketing strategies include low interest rates in its home country, US. Favorable international tax agreements. Receiving government support for infrastructure. But there were many bottlenecks as far as Nike's growth is concerned. US's sanctions on Iran acted as an impediment for Nike, which was planning to sell its equipments there. The Nike campaign, "Just Do It," didn't go very well with a segment of population owing to the ad being displayed by Colin Kaepernick, whose past issues with injustice and racism raised many objectionable eyebrows. A report by Open Secrets state that Nike's political lobbying expenditure in 2016 alone was $750,000, and the amount has increased since then. It is quite a huge cost to mitigate political adversities, we believe. If taken as a whole, Nike enjoys the opportunities to improve its market presence and global expansion in the domain of sports footwear, apparel and equipment. Other political determinants which affected Nike are: legal framework for contract enforcement, antitrust laws for apparel footwear, varying tax rates and regulations. Nike is always subject to such changes, industrial safety regulations, intellectual property protection and litigation issues, etc. Economic factors. Nike's business performance is influenced by the state of economies where it sells its athletic apparel, footwear, and equipment, primarily the US market. As the recent years saw recession troubling most of the brands, Nike had been able to manage growth and revenue from 2005 to 2018, with minor fluctuations. Some of the economic factors that positively contributed are the rapid growth of developing markets, relatively economically stable developed countries, the low cost of labor in Far Eastern countries which have kept Nike's revenue growing, the policy of outsourcing to Asian countries that Nike undertook from 1990s. The markets of the developed countries like the United States are relatively stable, thereby providing Nike Incorporated with the opportunity to continue its stable growth in these countries. Nike has good chances to penetrate UK, Australia and other such promising markets. Social factors. These factors influences the attractiveness of Nike athletic shoes, apparel and other accessories. Improving collective consciousness about fitness and sports. Growth of individual wealth in developing countries. Rising emphasis on product safety and better quality. In developing nations, Nike has the scope to cater to consumers with increasing individual wealth. The organization can develop safer products and initiate marketing campaigns that highlight the safety of its sports shoes, equipment and apparel. Nike has been unable to address the working conditions of laborers, low wage rates and the infrastructural condition of factories in these countries, which may lead to backlash or can cause harm to its brand image and sales. Technological factors. Nike's business changes as per the technologies available for business processes and athletic footwear, apparel, and equipment. It uses one of the most advanced IT infrastructure for its operations and delivery. It uses a model in which transaction and supply chain are linked via Simple Object Access Protocol, SOAP, and MPPS massively parallel processor system, both of which can be considered the most upgraded systems. Nike has efficiently harnessed the online technology to ensure contactless payment via mobile phone. Major parts of the operations have been automated with time, thereby reducing labor costs. The company has effectively integrated mobile technologies in its products to reach out to the consumers. It has also made a substantial mark on other digital platforms according to various digital metrics, along with positioning correctly through social media. Environmental factors. Nike had phrased ISO 1400 as its overall product development outlook. This provides a boost to Nike's environmental image. It has kept a tab on its carbon footprint and waste management. Nike uses organic cotton in its product, which is considered environment friendly. Nike shoes are easier to recycle, and solvent used for Nike shoes is about 85% less than that of Tiger and Adidas brand shoes. Legal. Nike has already hit roadblocks many a times with litigations over gender discrimination and hostile work conditions. Nike has been charged many a times for dodging taxes, and several scrutiny has also happened over its shady marketing practices, specifically where it offers discounts. Well, we have in our marketing analysis repository many more Fortune 500 and outstanding companies. Thus, regardless of the requirements you have for your case study, we will help you deal with the cases with maximum insight and accurate analysis. Our assistance on case studies has helped many ace the grades in their marketing classes. Don't be left behind and give us a call at 613-4000-0033. Let our experts pave the way for your success.
Okay, guys, so that was just to give you a quick heads up of what and how we practically in the real life do pestle analysis. As you can see, there are many other, examples already available on YouTube. So please feel free to go on YouTube and have a look at these related videos from Zara, Apple. We've already done Nike, Coca-Cola. So why I want you to do this is because our knowledge should obviously not be just bookish knowledge. When we actually relate it to real life examples, real life companies, that is when we actually practically, absorb, oh yes, that's right. That's practically how this has happened as well, with organizations that we know of, rather than studying XYZ limited all the time, isn't it? So you tell me whether you want me to show you examples like this in the class, or are you happy to just go through the PPTs and, just have like a traditional way of the session. Please let me know, guys. I'm waiting for your comments in the chat box. Do you want to see these related and example videos coming in from YouTube? We need examples. Yes, show us. What about others, guys? I will go by majority of what the class says. Practical examples will be good. Show examples. Yes. Okay, so what I feel is that, yes, everybody actually resonates. What I am also saying that, yes, absolutely right. Videos are definitely helpful. I mean, if somebody is telling me a boring PPT really vis-a-vis showing me a real example of this with a company which I can actually relate to, I think I would better definitely, understand the concept. And that was the only idea of why I have actually, listed down and, filtered all these good videos for you. Wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. It's just, a heads up that I need to take from the class because I don't want anybody to feel like that, okay, this is something that, they could have done very well at their own end as well. So please feel free to let me know if you don't want me to show any particular video as well. Okay, right. So like we've just seen the example of Nike, every organization in the world cannot, and, it's just not possible for any organization in the world to operate in isolation. Every organization's strategy will get impacted by the external environment in which it operates, which includes the pestle model, which means the political environment, the economic environment, the social environment in which businesses operate, the technological environment, ecological or environmental framework which is there in that particular society, as well as the laws, as that is the legal environment in which the businesses operate. So now, first things first, when you are writing down and making use of the model in the exam, how are you going to use it? Are you going to write down pestle model? Political means the political environment of the of the government, what sort of rules and regulations the government is, imposing, what is the government stability, what is the inflation, right? What are the foreign trade, rules and regulations like? Are you going to do that? Tell me. Are you going to do that in the exam? Are you going to explain what the model means? No. So what you're going to do is straight away use this as a model to give structure to your answer and bang on. Tell us, how is this relevant to the organization which is given to you in this scenario? So what is the political environment of XYZ Limited, which has been given to you in the exam? What is the, the economic environment in which this industry operates? What is the overall social environment in which, of this country really? So that is how you are going to apply the models. Use it to give structure to your answer. Absolutely no need to explain the model, what it means. That is again going to be bookish knowledge. The examiner doesn't want to test your bookish knowledge. The examiner doesn't want to, know that how well you have, grabbed and, learned the model itself. No. What the examiner wants to see is how well you are able to understand the model and are you able to apply that model to the scenario which has been given to you in the exam. So application is what is going to be required. No need to, do any sort of rote learning in SBL exam. Application to the scenario is what is going to be tested, and this is what is going to fetch your marks as well. Yes, however, you need to learn what are the factors of the pestle model. So what it basically means, if you don't know what it understands for, what it stands for, you obviously will not be able to apply that to the scenario as well. So when you do that actually in the exam, it tells the examiner that yes, you understand what the political environment of under the pestle model actually means. That's why you've been able to filter out the political factors of the scenario and tell to the examiner in the answer. So that is the kind of skill which I want everybody to develop. Yes, we will do that slowly and gradually. So what I want you to do is very quickly read through the factors. We all know political environment is obviously, the government's policies, your how stable the government is, what are your regulations per se. Economic environment will include your macroeconomic variables in terms of your policies, pricing, inflation, business cycles, trade cycles, your disposable income, what is, the availability per se, the cost of resources per se. Social factors will include an analysis of the demographic factors, an analysis of the social traits of the country, how agile people are to move, how much is the level of employment in the country, what are the lifestyle, you can say, attitude of the people in the country. All of this will be part of your social environment. Then we also have a look at the technological environment, which includes the fact that you are looking at technology from the perspective of how important and what sort of rules and regulations is the government having towards the technological development of the country, of that particular sector that we are talking about. So yes, in industries like technological streams like IT, mobile phones, laptops, TVs, technology will definitely play a very important role. Ecological or environmental factors will include the fact that what is the green pollution or the green policies of the government, how strict is the government in terms of zero emission policies, the carbon footprints, the social footprints that organization may leave behind. Are you imposing fines and penalties? So all of that factors will include your ecological or environmental factors. Then your legal factors will include, how strict are the laws and the laws of the country in terms of taxation, in terms of employment laws, in terms of monopoly legislation, as well as environmental protection laws that can be there. So first thing, what I'm going to do is, before opening up a question for you to practice, let's quickly have a look at one more live example, because that will help us give and filter more points that we can actually use in the test question also, which I will open up after this.
Hey everyone, my name is Kyle.
Again, a very good example of Honda Motors. Subtitles, I switch on subtitles, guys. Why? Because sometimes the volume of the video is very low, so students might not be able to hear or understand properly what the other person is saying, and probably sometimes the accent is also a little different, because these are all videos in English only which I will be playing. So that is why I turn on subtitles. So you are, if you can't hear or if the volume is low, you can at least read and understand what the author must be saying. That's why I turn on the subtitles, guys.
Bert, and my group consists of Ben Murphy, David Seegers, and Jeremy Sykes. Today, we will be doing a pestle analysis of Honda Motors Incorporated. To start off, here is an introduction to Honda Motor Incorporated. Honda is the 8th largest car manufacturer in the world. It ranks 5th in the world for overall best fuel-efficient vehicles. And lastly, the Honda Accord was the first foreign vehicle to be produced and manufactured in the United States. To start off with the pestle model, starting with political. Some governments have put forward a motion to cut back on the amount of cars used by people in order to eliminate toxic gases. Because of this, Honda must reduce production for those areas. Thus, sales will be affected negatively. Honda is researching new ways, which we will talk about shortly, on how to abide by government standards while keeping shareholders happy. On the economic side of things, Honda has invested in making hybrid vehicles that are efficient on fuel they use while also being eco-friendly. With the fluctuating oil prices, the hybrid series has proven to be friendly to both the environment and the checkbook. If hybrid vehicles continue to prove friendly to the environment, then we could possibly see a change in the political aspect. This could reverse the low sales in areas of low productivity. Looking at the social side, demographic trends have forced Honda to think outside of the box. In the automotive industry, customers like a car that fits their personality. Through investments and production change, Honda is now able to give consumers a wider selection that better fits their wants and needs. Today, Honda provides mid-size cars, vehicles, and trucks. Looking at the technological side, maps are things of the past. Today, everyone reaches their destination by GPS, with global positioning systems becoming a normal for travel. Honda has begun to install satellite navigation in the newest models. This gives consumers a sense of luxury in a car that is known for its efficiency. Along with this, Honda has begun to make driving safer by installing blind spots and backup cameras. This adds luxury to affordable vehicles. Ecological side. The environment plays a major role in the way car engines perform. During warmer seasons, engines run hotter than usual, and in colder seasons, starting can become an issue.
Okay, so just to take on Madhavan's point that some of the political factors mentioned here can also come up under the legal factors. So yes, government under the political factor will do what? Obviously, a part of the, the political factor majorly talks about the laws, the legal environment of the organization. So somewhere you can say that, they will be interrelated. So some factors you can put under the political environment in terms of the overall stability of the government, how, the people of the, what is the overall, you can say, likeliness of the government continuing in the next regime. That you can put under the political environment, and under legal, you can put down specific laws which are there. Right, Madhavan?
Issue. Honda has harnessed a way to make an engine that is compatible to both situations. The hybrid engine is friendly for all climates and has cut down harmful emissions. Because of this, Honda is recognized as a manufacturer that cares about the environment. The link between business and nature is positive for the company. Looking at the legal side, Honda Motor Company has evolved in how they produce an eco-friendly motor and made their line of vehicles safer for the driver. Because these practices have taken place, Honda essentially has lowered their risk of facing lawsuits from government or environmental organizations. With a lower legal risk, Honda can focus on producing a vehicle that gives them an edge of competition. Honda Link notifies emergency personnel if a crash is indicated, along with lane departure and forward collision warnings. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Al.
Okay, so I think I've shown you good couple of examples, and if you want to go through and
Alex Don,
ideally
a
you should
management
actually,
expert
because
from
this
my
is just so interesting to know about, how different countries across the globe actually do apply the pestle model and how does it impact the businesses as well. But obviously we cannot go on and on in the class. So now I want you to do a pestle analysis on a supermarket business. So take, for example, big bazaar in your head, and at least 2 items you need to tell me under each heading under the pestle analysis. And I want everybody in the class to please do this, right? Quickly do pestle analysis on a supermarket business. So think of any supermarket business in your head and list down at least 2 items under each header under the pestle model to tell me what all factors would you be considering relevant to the supermarket business only. Remember, it's extremely important for you to not give me any general points, but to link it to the industry, to the scenario which has been categorically asked by you, right? So quickly do this, everyone, and submit your answers. I want everybody to please keep on pouring your pointers in the chat box, please. Very well, answers coming in from the class. Guys, are you done or do you need more time? Are you done? Shall we start? I think I have answers from many of you. So I think it's a good time to start. Yes, I think we can start then. So yes, pestle analysis of a supermarket business. The best thing to do is consider put in your mind a real life supermarket business like Big Bazaar for that matter, and look at all the aspects under the pestle model, that how it would be impacting the decisions of a market like Big Bazaar. And then definitely, you can come up with many factors. SBL is one paper, guys, which is, which has no one right answer. Like, a number crunching paper like FR or SBR, if I may say so. You have to perform some calculations and there can be only one right answer, right? However, in a paper like SBL, there will be no one right answer. As long as you are able to make a point which is valid, which is justified with a logical reasoning that you are giving, it's perfectly fine. It will fetch you marks for it. So just go through the model answer. Even if some of the points that you had mentioned are not mentioned here, which obviously will be there because your ideas will be different from my ideas, right? However, as long as your ideas are still valid under the same category and it's an equally valid point, you will get, you will fetch a mark for it, right? So that's why. So political influences, you can say, will obviously include what are the overall political stability of the government per se. What is the planning policy on large out of town sites, which, probably the government is contemplating. What policies the government has prepared towards competition. Then economic influences will obviously include the unemployment rate in the country, the interest rates given by the banks, what sort of taxation are you offering. So some of these pointers, because this is like an external environmental analysis, will obviously be generic pointers at all times, which you can, relevant to your particular industry, you can definitely put them down in your answers as well. So quickly have a look at the model answer once. Meanwhile, I will check your answers. I want you to read through the model answer and please compare it to your answer. Let me just quickly read through your answers as well till then. Competition Commission, pricing guidelines, that's fine. Transportation cost, procurement policies, yes. Social will include the cultural as well as the status of the customers in that area. What kind of taste do the customers have? Do they really are they willing to spend on luxury items more? Are they moving, are the social trends moving towards procuring goods from supermarkets which are organically sourced? So yes, you can talk about all of these. Like the government of India is promoting millets of India. So how, obviously that will impact the government and, that will impact the social influence of the people as well. Are they spending more towards healthier food choices, or is the majority population still eating junk? So these are all the trends, these are all the impacts that, all the factors that are going to impact your decision and, that is going to impact your organization from the external environmental analysis, right? Any doubt, guys? I'm just going through your answers till then. Please ask if you have any doubt. Obviously, pestle model is kind of more of a generic model that you can apply. And here the question was just like a simple one-liner. In the actual exam, you will be given a lot more detail referring to each of these, factors under the pestle model as well. So you will be required to like pick it up from the scenario and put it down in your answers as well, right? Quickly read through this. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt in this question? Quickly ask if you have any doubt. No, says Rutuja. What about others? So that was the first model, the pestle model, a very generic model, but at the same time, a very, you can say, something that you can definitely apply in the exam if you want to assess the external environment of the business that we are talking about. Okay, thank you for the confirmation, guys. So now let's move on to the next extremely interesting model, which is called the Porter's 5 forces model. Now, this particular model is again an external, environmental analysis model. However, this model, when we apply it when we are trying to assess how attractive is one industry in comparison to another. So, when you have to assess the overall industry's attractiveness. So how is the telecom industry as an industry? When you want to assess the industry, then we will make use of the Porter's 5 forces model, which gives you an overall assessment of 5 forces which impact the governments, that particular sectors, that particular industries overall attractiveness, how lucrative, how growing is that one industry per se. So these 5 forces include your buyer power, which simply means how strong are the buyers in that particular industry, how strong are they in terms of being able to exert pressure on the company. Are your buyers so powerful enough that they can demand extra discounts for you? Are you dependent upon like one huge buyer per se? So you have to look at the overall industry's attractiveness from the from the level of power that buyers have in their hand. Then on the other hand, how powerful is the supplier of your industry? So it means that if for that particular industry to be able to manufacture, if you're hugely dependent upon one vendor only, then that one vendor obviously has a lot of power, isn't it? So supposingly, let me give you an example for this. So supposingly for us to run this telecom industry for that matter, if you're looking at the overall industry's attractiveness of the telecom industry, how much do you reckon the buyers are powerful? Tell me, are the buyers powerful? In the telecom industry, if I'm looking at the industry attractiveness of telecom industry, do you think the buyers are powerful? Well, I think so, yes. Why? Because it's so easy for the buyers to, in today's time and age, to switch to another vendor. So the overall industry, from an overall perspective, we can say that buyers do have the power. Why? Because it's easy for them to switch. So if today I don't provide them, with a huge level of discounts, with good family packages within the sector itself, within the industry itself, the buyer will switch. So yes, buyers of the industry do have a lot of power. What about supplier power? Do you think the telecom industry per se is dependent upon one such element that they require in order to, run the industry? Do they need some sort of raw material per se? Not really, right? So yes, the suppliers don't really have much power. Why? Because you are really not dependent upon any one such raw material in order to, run your industry per se. Competitive rivalry, how much and what are the level of, competition within the industry itself? Well, I would say telecom is a hugely competitive industry. And in order to, sustain ourselves, we really have to provide a good level of service at all times. What about new entrants? Is it easy for any Tom, Dick, and Harry to enter into the telecom industry now? It's not, right? So, yes, there are, there can be new players coming in, but it's not very easy for anybody to just enter into this industry. You require licenses, you require a lot of capital investment to be able to enter into this industry. So threat of new entrants, I would say, is comparatively low in that particular industry. What about the threat of substitutes? What do you reckon would be a substitute for a telecom industry? So if I don't use mobile phones, what do I use? Pigeons? Not really, right? So yes, there are lesser substitutes available to that overall industry per se, right? So I would say that yes, from a substitute threat of substitutes perspective, it's not very high for a telecom industry, right? Yes, wonderful. So let's quickly have a look at a real life example, a couple of real life examples here to understand the concept more, and then we will have a deeper dig into each of these 5 forces, and only then I will open up a question for you.
Hi, my name is Mustafa.
Okay, so this is again a very interesting video which I've filtered for you. This is going to do a Potter's 5 forces analysis of Netflix.
A merchant.
Hi, Mustafa. I'm Matthew Wall, the recruiting manager at Netflix. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. I'm an MBA marketing student interested in the sales and marketing position at your firm, Netflix.
Okay, why do you want to work for Netflix?
I chose to work for Netflix based on my analysis of the Porter's 5 forces, which are supplier power, buyer power, competitive rivalry, threat of substitutes, and threat of new entrants. These 5 forces determine a company's competitive environment, which affects profitability. The first force is supplier power, the bargaining power of the suppliers focus. For example, Netflix supplier power is high because the suppliers make the movies, not Netflix, and Netflix demands large volumes of movies and TV series. To reduce the supplier's power, Netflix is using backward integration. For instance, its own TV series, The House of Cards. The second force is buyer power. This power has a lot of similarities with the supplier power. Netflix is the king of streaming video, and to continue to mitigate the threat of buyer power, Netflix should innovate on addressing these major issues. Switching costs, video preferences, viewer preferences, movie and TV show selection, and refining the brand. The third force is threat of substitute. A substitute product is a product from another industry that offers similar benefits to the consumer as the product produced by the firm within the industry. For Netflix, the threat of substitute is, can customers get the same level of entertainment from another industry? Considering the threat level is high for Netflix, cost and product diversity are the key leading factors that separate Netflix from other streaming providers. The fourth force is competitive rivalry, which signifies the strength of competition in the industry. At Netflix, the competitive environment is high. The competitors are Amazon Prime, Hulu, and several other networks. They create an intense competition with Netflix. Also, the switching costs are low, making it easier for any subscriber to switch among competitors. Lastly, the fifth force is threat of new entrants. The barrier of entry will be high if there are strict regulations or a need for specialized knowledge or high investment requirements. For smaller companies, the threat level is low because Netflix is operating on high economies of scale with high product variety while maintaining low cost and increasing profit. However, for bigger companies like Google and Apple, which have access to technology and the capital to acquire content, they could pose a threat as new entrants. In summary, Porter's 5 forces can be used to analyze companies in similar industries. After applying Porter's 5 forces to Netflix, it affirms my dream to work for Netflix based on its strengths in the streaming industry.
Wow, that was incredible detailed analysis of my company. You, sir, are hired. I will see you Monday.
Thank you. See you Monday.
Created using Powtoon.
Yes, so that was a interesting video. I'm going to just show you very quickly one more before we dive into each of these forces that impact the industry's attractiveness. Guys, this is very important for you to understand which model to apply when. So, when you are want to evaluate the industry's attractiveness, we are going to make use of the Potter's Diamond Forces model.
To inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. This is the mission of Starbucks Coffee Company, which is the largest coffee house chain in the world. But what exactly is Starbucks? Jerry Baldwin, Gordon Booker, and Zev Siegel founded Starbucks in 1971, and it opened its first establishment in Seattle's historic Pike Place Market. Howard Schultz, Starbucks chairman and chief executive officer, had first walked inside a Starbucks location in 1981. Howard was captivated to Starbucks and joined a year later. He became the head of marketing. When the business sent Schultz to Milan to attend an international housewares exhibition in the spring of 1983, he had his biggest vision for the future of Starbucks. However, the three founders did not agree to Howard's idea, so he left and started his own business. Later on, he was able to acquire Starbucks and has now become the biggest global coffee chain, whose net worth is $30 billion based on its revenue and profits over the last 3 years. Starbucks' global expansion shows no signs of slowing down. There were about 31,300 Starbucks locations worldwide as of the end of 2019. Question: how did Starbucks survive and become the company they are now despite the competition in the business world? To answer that question, we are going to analyze Starbucks using Porter's 5 forces. But first, let me introduce to you Porter's 5 forces and the man who created it. Porter's 5 forces is a strategy for determining an industry's vulnerabilities and strengths by identifying and analyzing 5 competitive forces that define every business. Michael E. Porter, a Harvard Business School professor, born on May 23, 1947, is an American economist, corporate strategist, and social activist who is well known for his thoughts on economics, company strategy, and social concerns. Michael E. Porter is the creator of the 5 forces concept. The 5 key forces are competitive rivalry, supplier power, buyer power, threat of substitution, and the threat of new entry. To explain further the 5 key forces, we have Starbucks and Porter's 5 forces. First, threat of new entrants. Starbucks is at medium threat. Starbucks has a large market share and have strong brand identities within the industry. New entrants can compete with brands like Starbucks at local level. However, their possibility of being successful remains low to moderate. Starbucks has grabbed a large market share based on its infrastructure, efficiency, and product quality. Still, switching costs being low, the new brands can attract customers using lower prices, so the threat of new entrants remains. However, it gets mitigated to a large extent by brand image, market share, and other factors like brand loyalty. Many companies have gained very loyal customer bases from their past advertisements, customer service, objective product differentiations, and early entry into the industry. All of this makes it more difficult for new entrants to gain a solid customer base. Second key force is the threat of substitutes. Starbucks has moderate to high threat. These external factors enable smaller firms to do business and compete against Starbucks Corporation. On the other hand, brand development is costly. In the context of the 5 forces analysis model, this condition reduces the threat of substitution. For example, small coffee houses do not have enough resources to develop their brands. Also, brand development typically requires years to reach the level of strength of the Starbucks brand. Substitutes are readily available in numerous forms such as cans, bottles of ready-to-drink coffee, cold ice cartons of ready-to-drink coffee, instant powders, supermarkets' own brand coffee brands, even other hot and cold drinks will be classed as threats as they can impact on their market. These substitutes can be bought in various locations such as supermarket, corner stores, vending machine, petrol stations, local cafes, fast foods places, and even local public houses. The third force is the bargaining power of buyers. Starbucks is high threat. The bargaining power of buyers, one of the forces in Porter's five forces industry analysis framework, refers to the pressure that customers or consumers can put on businesses to get them to provide higher quality products, better customer service, and or lower prices. It is important to keep in mind that the bargaining power of buyers analysis is conducted from the perspective of the seller. The bargaining power of buyers would refer to customers or consumers who use the products or services of the company. Starbucks' bargaining power of buyers is at high threat because with newer entries and competitors like McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Costa Coffee, and thousands of small local coffee shops, cafes, claiming to offer premium roast coffee of good quality at a reduced price, purchasers now have slightly more bargaining power than in the past. Supplier power. Starbucks is at low threat. One of the five Porter's forces is the bargaining power of suppliers. If suppliers have very strong bargaining power, they can bargain away any of the profits to that industry. Starbucks is able to take advantage of its size and benefit of economies of scale. It is also growing with the coffee farmers directly that has helped it gain higher control over its supply chain. By using different suppliers, it also helps to ensure that they have a steady supply of product. The bargaining power of suppliers is further weakened because of the large overall supply. Starbucks is facing intense competition, which means an abundance of choices for the customers, and there are many suppliers of coffee around the world. Now, supplier power for Starbucks is at low threat because the commodities and other raw materials used by Starbucks are being supplied by a number of suppliers. Starbucks works a large number of suppliers worldwide, and the massive supply requirements by Starbucks make it paramount for the suppliers. The switching cost of Starbucks is not high. And lastly, to complete the five forces, we have competitive rivalry. Starbucks is moderate to high threat. At the center of the five forces model industry competition arising from rivalries among existing firms. Starbucks Coffee Company not only faces a large number of competitors, but a large variety of competitors. But despite that, Starbucks is still the leading coffee chain worldwide. Starbucks has many rivals, which includes Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Wheat Bread, and Costa Coffee. The external factors contribute to the strong force of competition are a large number of firms, moderate variety of firms, and it would also be a low-cost switch to change to a competitor. Many of coffees and beverages being served by Starbucks are also being served by the competitors. There are a few products that are unique to Starbucks that have helped it build the brand loyalty amongst customers. Thus, the competitive rivalry is high for Starbucks. Starbucks has managed to differentiate itself from competitors by creating the unique value proposition of becoming the third place for customers after home and the workplace. Customers were able to order customized drinks and enjoy the beverage in a relaxed, upscale environment. Here's a summary of Starbucks with the use of Porter's five forces analysis. Threats of new entrants is at medium threat. Threat of substitutes is at moderate to high threats. Bargaining power of buyers is at high threats. Supplier power is at low threats. And competitive rivalry is at moderate to high threats. This implies that Starbucks must consider measures to retain people loyal to their brand in order to limit the pace at which their customers may be stolen by competitors, so that Starbucks may continue to be at the top of the coffee house chain in the world.
Okay, so that was a pretty exhaustive example of the Starbucks and how the Porter's five forces model can be evaluated to the coffee industry, really. For that matter, we can assess any industry of the world and look at that, why one particular industry and what is the attractiveness of one particular industry per se. And that is something that we will make use of the Porter's five forces model. When there are large number of suppliers, the bargaining power of supplier is less. Yes, that is true, Madhavan. Why? Because there are a large number of suppliers which are already available. So you as a vendor are not just only dependent upon one supplier. If the terms and conditions of one supplier doesn't work out for you, you can definitely switch to the other supplier then, right? So that is how the bargaining power of suppliers in this case will be less. Right, Madhavan? Let's review each one of these forces in much detail. So let's have a look at the first one, which is called the bargaining power of buyers. Now, when I say that the buyer is powerful, which means that your end customer, how much of a power does he really have in impacting your decisions, in impacting that whether you are able to go ahead with an impact on you, on your decisions, your pricing or not. So that is the bargaining power of buyers. Powerful customers can force price cuts and quality improvements as well. Either way, margins are eroded, bargaining power is high when a combination of factors actually arise. Such factors could conclude where? Now, when do you reckon that, the buyers will have much power? When you are dependent upon, say, a huge buyer really. So that one huge buyer of yours can definitely impact your pricing per se, right? Quickly review the pointers here. So quickly read through it. So yes, we know that the buyer will become powerful when the buyer has the power to be able to impact your decisions, to be able to impact your pricing, to be able to impact your quality of the product. When a buyer makes low profit, it means his bargaining power is less. So yes, a buyer makes low profit means that the buyer doesn't really have much power to impact your prices, right? So that's true. That's right, Madhavan. What else? Any other factors yet we can think of? Similar alternative products. So yes, from a buyer perspective, a lot of substitutes are available. So the buyer can definitely reach out to some other vendor really, right? What else? What about the bargaining power of suppliers then? Yes, the bargaining power of supplier will be influenced by the fact depending upon how dependent are you on that supplier. If many suppliers are available, you can obviously switch suppliers very quickly. So then the bargaining power of suppliers is going to be less. However, if there are only a couple of dominant suppliers on whom you are hugely dependent, then definitely the bargaining power of suppliers will be high in that case. The extent to which the products offered have a uniqueness of brand, technical performance or designs are not being available elsewhere. Then again, what happens? You are in turn dependent upon that one supplier who has that unique quality product available, that supply available on you, that brand or that technological process available. So then you are dependent upon that one supplier. So when your level of dependency on that supplier is high, obviously the bargaining power of supplier is going to be high in that case. Competition. When there's too much competition, obviously you don't have much power, because too much competition simply means that you have to constantly fight with the competition. You have to constantly struggle and make your own space, make your own market share in the market. When that happens, the level of competition is high. That means that the level of the level of power in your hands is going to be lesser as well. Quickly read through it. Quickly read through the pointers. Let me know if you want me to explain anything. We've done all of it though. Read through the pointers, please. Any doubt, please ask. So what happens when there is cutthroat competition? Obviously, we are so, fiercely involved in making a space for ourselves that we don't, we as an individual, as one entity doesn't have much power on us. Threat of new entrants, how easy or difficult is it for new competition to enter into the market? So now that will be less if there are a lot of barriers to entry. Now, barriers to entry, which simply means that it is difficult for any Tom, Dick and Harry to enter into this business. Just like that, right? That will happen when there are economies of scale. So there is one vendor who is already at such a huge level of production that they're enjoying huge level of economies of scale, which means their per unit production cost is really less. So if I enter into the same industry, it will be very difficult for me to be able to match up to that level of existing competition, which is already there. So then economies of scale acts as a major source of barrier to entry. What about product differentiation? Tell me. So the customers in the industry are already glued to that one brand which is already there because of the different or that perception in their mind of that brand which is already established in the market. So how difficult would it be for me as a newcomer to beat that, and make a space for myself in this new segment? So that would be difficult. So that acts as a barrier to entry for me as a business as well. Capital requirements simply means that if I need to shell out a lot of money to just enter into this segment, again, that acts as a barrier to entry for me. What else? Switching costs. If switching costs are high, then again, I would rather not switch by because it would impose a lot of cost for me as a supplier. Access to distribution channels. So in order for me to enter into this new segment and activate my, make my space into this new segment, I obviously need my own, my own set of distribution channel. When that is also difficult for me to establish, again, what does that become? It becomes, it acts as a threat of new entrant for me. Cost advantage. What do you mean by cost advantage? Then yes, there are, existing players in the market who are already enjoying that upper hand in terms of the lower cost per unit that they are able to produce. That again becomes a cost advantage. Probably they have, gone ahead and patented a technology which gives them an extra edge. Again, that would act as a barrier to entry for new entrants to enter into this market. Technical know-how, expertise, there is a human resource which is so good at doing what he's doing, and he's already there with the existing competition. So how do I enter into this market and fight that competition? How do I match that level of expertise? How do I match that level of know-how which is already there in the market? That again acts as a huge threat to new entrants, you can say. Regulation. What about regulation? So yes, if the government itself has put restrictions on the number of players which are going to be there and you require license to enter into a new market, then that also acts as a barrier to entry. Is this okay with everyone? It's a good pointer there. So I want everybody to go through the list of details which I've just mentioned on the screen. Obviously, all of them would not be applicable to the scenario which is given to you, but yes, some of them, you possibly can filter out from the scenario and then apply. Quickly read through it. Ask if you have any queries, guys. Is this okay with everyone? Tell me, is this okay with everyone? Any doubts, please feel free to ask. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. And then we have threat of substitute products, which simply means as an industry, how replaceable you are. As an industry, how many substitutes are available within the industry as well as across industries as well, right? So let me now open up a test question for you to look at and quickly have a look at this model. So you have to apply a Potter's 5 forces model to a company that does garden maintenance for households, which includes activities like cutting grass, removing the weeds, pruning the shrubs, etc. So a garden maintenance company, and that too only for households. Let's quickly do a Potter's 5 forces analysis for this particular industry per se. Very quickly, guys. You know your 5 forces. Under each of these 5 forces, you have to give me the relevant pointers relevant to this particular industry that we're talking about here, which is the garden maintenance company for households. Quickly, everyone. Guys, I want everybody to put in an answer, please. Remember, you need to start practicing, only then you will get into the habit of using your brain to actually apply the models to the scenario and how that is going to be done. These small examples, these small exercises which I'm making you do are only small stepping stones towards you getting into the habit of how to make it relevant to the scenario that has been given to you. Okay, so answers pouring in. I will quickly give you a couple of more minutes for others to put in the answer also. Please, guys, everybody needs to put in an answer here. Okay, so let's review the Potter's 5 forces company. This industry per se, how attractive it is for a garden maintenance organization. So obviously the industry is unique, but that's how unique your ACCA SBL exam is going to be as well. It can be any industry under the sun that you can think of, and they can ask you to just go full blown and review it from an industry's attractiveness point of view as well. So let's very quickly have a look at how do we reckon that we can have a look at the overall industry attractiveness of a garden maintenance company. So threat of entry, do you think it's high or low first? Tell me. I think you don't require like any government's license or huge capital investment to enter into this industry. You only need some basic tools, a little bit of technical know-how, yes, and just literally you can enter into this industry, right? So yes, threat of entry is definitely high for that industry. Threat of substitute products, well, I would not really, I think the only substitute which is available to my garden maintenance company, I've not hired like a company, but I have a gardener coming in, and the only substitute I can think of my gardener is possibly just myself, right? So I think that is the only threat of substitute which is there. So I would consider it a low substitute. So yes, you either would need somebody coming in from outside to manage your garden, or you would have to do it yourself. So yes, I would consider that threat of substitute products per se is low here. Bargaining power of customers, how much do you really think that I can literally go ahead and bargain with my gardener per se? There is possibly an industry set rate or a society set rate, which I also obviously need to adhere to as well. So again, I would say the customers like me really don't have much power in terms of exerting a huge pressure on the garden maintenance company. Bargaining power of suppliers, again, I would find it to be very low. Why? Because my garden maintenance company, or gardener for that matter, can go ahead and purchase you can say pesticides or insecticides or whatever medicines they need to put in my plants and all, whatever manure they need to put in my plants and all. If not from one vendor, they can definitely hop on to another vendor without me even noticing the difference per se. So yes, I would say there is low bargaining, there is low bargaining power in the hands of the suppliers as well in this industry, right? Just review your own answers, guys, please, very quickly. Let me just read through your answers also till then. Meanwhile, you read through the model answer. Okay, review your answers. Like I said, it doesn't really mean that your answer has to perfectly match with my answer. Why? Because as long as you are able to justify your reasoning of why do you reckon that, that power is possibly a low or a high in one particular industry from your viewpoint, then definitely it's a valid point. So don't get bogged down. There is no one right answer in SBL ever. Right? Any doubt in this, guys? Any doubt? No doubt, says Madhavan. What about others? What about others, guys? I need to know if anybody has any doubt in this. Okay, no doubts is what I'm hearing. Okay, good then. I think it's a good time to very quickly. Okay, ma'am, bargaining power of customers. Can't it be high? So bargaining power of customers can be high if they have a lot of garden maintenance company substitutes available to them. So if I have, say, about 10 gardeners coming to me and asking for work every second day, then I would say that the bargaining power of customers is really high. Why? Because I can then negotiate my pricing between them. But it's obviously a very small scenario given to us with not much detail per se. In the exam, it doesn't just necessarily have to be a high or a low. It will depend upon more information which will be given to you and how you are able to, get hold and, process that information. So yes, it can be high as well. If there are a lot of, vendors available to me as a customer really. Right, Shelja? So if I have 10 garden maintenance company coming to me, then definitely I have the power to bargain with the provider. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think what we will do now is we will take a quick 15 minutes break and then we shall continue. We've done some good models today to begin with, and we will continue with it post 15 minutes break very quickly. Okay, so I hope everybody is back from the quick break. Any doubts, guys, so far? Anything anybody would like to ask? We've done 2 good models. We've had a look at few real life examples of these good models as well. We've done question practice on these good models as well. So any query? Anything you want to ask so far, or are we good to go ahead? Very quickly tell me, please. Any query, or are we good to go ahead? Good to go, says Madhavan. What about others? Because the next we're going to do is scenario planning, wherein, like in real life, if we are looking at any strategy per se as to how to go about a certain situation, we always plan the best possible scenario, the worst possible scenario, and maybe the most likely scenario as well. And that's exactly what businesses can do as well while preparing for strategies for their business. So that is also one of the models that you can look at in terms of what if everything just goes, haywire? What is the worst possible case scenario? What if everything goes as per what you planned, what you perceive, what you want, the best possible scenario, as well as what seems to be the most probable scenario coming into the picture, taking consideration of the fact that, yes, this is what the majority or the expectations of the future likelihood looks like. So that particular model is called scenario planning model as well. So you are basically looking at and calculating and, figuring out all the possible scenarios that there can be. Up next is the Porter's Diamond Competitiveness Model. Now, this particular model is used when I want to figure out why not an industry. Remember, when you need to find out an industry's attractiveness, you make use of the Porter's five forces model. But when you need to find out that why one particular country seems to be doing better in one particular segment, in one particular industry than another country per se. So you're finding out country's competitiveness. That is when we will make use of the Porter's diamond model. Now, Porter's diamond model, just for an example, tell me which country comes to your mind as soon as you think of maybe technology. Which country comes to your mind? Technology in from a PC perspective, from a mobile phone perspective, maybe. The US? Yes, that's right. What comes to your mind? Which country comes to your mind when you're looking at or when you're thinking of cars, maybe? That technology in terms of cars. Germany? Yes. What else? Any other country as such, runs through your mind? So you know that, okay, yes, I can rely upon, or I feel that one particular country has an edge over any other country, probably in the same segment. Why do you think that is there? What factors are giving these countries per se an edge over the others? So that is what we study when we study the Porter's diamond model. So there are four factors on the basis of which we can evaluate a country's competitiveness, a country's edge over any other country per se in that industry, in that segment really. That will include the local factors like, maybe they have a very good already set up base of like a homegrown demand which is there. Local factors in terms of production and supplies and know-how which is required. Then maybe the home demand is such high that whatever they are producing is ultimately of that quality, that is something which is like better than the rest of the world maybe. Or maybe they have an established system of related and supporting industries which are capable of giving them an edge over any other country for that matter. Or maybe the fact that the level of competitiveness within the country itself is so high that your product is actually superior than if I compare it to any other product across the globe as well. So these are the forces, the four forces of the Porter's diamond forces that actually give a country an edge over any other country for that matter in one particular industry when we talk about it. Before going into each of these factors in detail, let me show you a quick introductory video on this. These are very intricately searched videos which I have found out and narrowed down for you. I hope you enjoy them. Okay.
Hey there, fellow
It's
marketers.
a nice video. Let's quickly have a look at this one.
And marketing students, Professor Walters here, and today we're here in Prague. And today we're going to talk about is Porter's National Diamond Framework. Basically, it's a way for business to look and see is what countries would be good for us to invest in for certain things, but also why certain countries are really good at certain things. Like why is the Czech Republic so great at beer? Or why is Portugal so great at wine? Or why is the US so great at making movies? These kind of things. This diamond framework helps you kind of understand that so you can see, if I want to be a movie star, where do I need to go to? Probably need to go to Hollywood, all right? So there's kind of four criteria I'm going to talk about in this diamond. One is factor conditions, the kind of stuff you need in order to make something. The next one, you're looking at supporting industries, so the things that help the industry survive and thrive. Then you look at your domestic customers. Are your domestic customers, drive you to do better? And then you look at your domestic rivalry. Are you fighting all the time with your local competition? Does that prepare you for the outside world? These kind of things, all right? So the first thing I want to talk about are those factor conditions. These are the things that you need to have in order to make a product, okay? So to make wine, you need to be able to have be able to grow grapes, right? So you need lots of sun, you need good soil, good climate, things like that. And if you think about it, what countries make good wine? Well, you got Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, South Africa, Australia, Argentina, Chile, California. You have all those. And what do they all have? They all have lots of sun and great weather. And so you have these things, and then they also have good soil that can make the wine taste really good. And so you have that. So that's a factor condition you have to have. Other industries you might look at, manufacturing. Well, one of the factors conditions you need is maybe cheap labor. And that's where you see China has a lot of manufacturing there, because the big factor condition is I need to have cheap labor. And that's one of the things that they have, okay? And so basically just think of they have the raw materials to make things happen when you're looking at the factor conditions. So the second factor you have to look at is related and supporting industries. What are the kind of industries that need to be there in order to make that main industry be successful, okay? So Portugal, very successful in wine, right? But also it doesn't hurt that they have a huge cork production there. The cork for the bottles is actually the bark of the cork tree, right? Well, they grow those cork trees in Portugal, so that helps them out. Think about professional sports in the US, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. Wow, those are really great leagues. Well, why is that? Think about the supporting industries, college sports, high school sports. I mean, heck, kids are playing, football and baseball and soccer at 3 years old, okay? So we've been training them all this time, so when they get to the big leagues, hey, that industry's gonna be a lot better because they're trained up, right? And if you look at in terms of the Hollywood and the movie industry, it doesn't hurt that a lot of the big marketing and advertising firms in the world are based in the US, so they're helping to market those movies and stuff like that. So you have those things. Now, the third criteria we're gonna look at is we're actually gonna look at the strategy and structure of rivalry in the domestic market. So basically, how much are they fighting with their competition at home? I mean, think about it. If McDonald's has been fighting Hardee's and Burger King and Wendy's for what, like 70 years? So they're trained up. They know what to do. And so when they go abroad, it's a lot easier for them to be a success because they've kind of figured out what it takes to beat the competition. And I'm here in Prague, and there's a McDonald's there, there's a Burger King up there, there's a Starbucks over there, because they've learned in the US and they've taken what they've learned and gone everywhere else. So that rivalry's really, kind of tightened them up, right? And the fourth factor is our domestic consumers. What is the demand from our domestic consumers? What do they do that drives us? Well, in the US, if you go to McDonald's and have to wait more than 2 minutes, you're like upset. So the customer's always like, faster, faster, faster. So McDonald's gets faster, faster, faster. Burger King got faster, 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 because that's what their domestic consumers demanded. If you look at wine in Portugal, the domestic consumers, they don't have a lot of money, but they want some good wine. So if you're looking for good, affordable wine, go buy Portuguese wine. I mean, it's unbelievably tasting and really low price. Well, yeah, because their domestic consumers weren't going to buy expensive stuff. And so the wineries in Portugal learned how to make good wine at an affordable price. Here in the Czech Republic, the beer is fantastic. Why is that? Because the locals won't drink crappy beer, okay? So they've driven them to make better beer. So when you go around the world and you have a Pilsner Urquell or another Czech beer, you're like, my God, this stuff is so good. Yeah, because you can thank the Czechs for that, because they've demanded good beer for hundreds of years, and it's developed into that industry, okay? So you have great beer here. So I hope this all together helps you understand more about Porter's National Diamond Framework. If you want to learn other global marketing topics and stuff like that, hit that subscribe button, and we put out new marketing and put out new marketing and YouTube videos and training videos all the time. So we appreciate all your likes, subscriptions. Do hit that like bell, give us that thumbs up. If you do hit the subscription bell, we really appreciate it. And we wish you all a great time here in Prague and a great time learning marketing. Or if you're looking to go global, going global. Bye from Prague. Hey there, fellow marketers. Professor Walters here.
Okay, so yes, that was just about a quick introduction of the Porter's Diamond Forces. So why do we reckon that one particular country is having an advantage, a competitive advantage over other countries of the world? Because of the 4 factors that impact the overall country's competitiveness level as compared to the rest of the world. So what do we make use of? We make use of the Porter's diamond model, which basically considers 4 factors. First being the favorable factor conditions, which means homegrown conditions are such in that particular country that they basically push or give you an advantage as compared to the rest of the world. So which will include the physical resources, which will include capital, which will include know-how, which will include the skill set of the people in that country, which will include the overall, you can say, infrastructure of that country as well. So that is something which is like better than the rest of the world. That is why these favorable homegrown factor conditions are something that push and give advantage to the overall country per se. Then we have the overall demand conditions, like in the video just we saw, the locals are not going to be happy, or they're not going to, accept any below the standard product really. So their homegrown demand is at such a high level of expectations that the ultimate product that you prepare for them is something which is, at a better value than what the rest of the world producers are really providing. So that also gives you a competitive edge per se. Relating and supporting industries. For every industry to thrive per se, you need the entire value chain to work together cohesively for that industry to operate, right? And when that happens in one particular country, for any industry leader, you will find that not just that industry, but the related industries to that particular industry are also the best in the industry, the best in the class really that there would be. So that is what we mean by the term relating and supporting industries. And then the last factor is obviously your own strategy, your own, the structure that you've set up within your own organization, and the kind of rivalry which you reckon is there already. That also pushes you as a country to be better than the rest of the world. And that is what gives you a competitive advantage as a nation over the rest of the world by analyzing the Porter's diamond forces. That is the 4 forces that basically give an analysis and an understanding of why one country is possibly doing better than the rest of the world in one particular aspect, in one particular industry per se, right? Okay, sorry guys, I don't know, some little internet disruption was there. Right, so your question is on your screen. I want everybody to very quickly submit your answers. Remember, make use of the Porter's Diamond Forces model to give structure to your answer. Under each of these headers, you need to link it to the US PC industry. I hope the structure and the model is clear with everyone. So very quickly, do this please, guys. Okay, quickly waiting for all replies. I want everybody to please answer. Can you please show the relevant slide? Why, Ekta? There are 4 factors. You should know them now. Okay, so what I will do, I will show you the 4 factors quickly. Let me go back to the diagram. Remember the question, please, guys. So here are the 4 factors you need to consider and give me answer for the Porter's diamond model, that why US as a country has a competitive advantage over the rest of the world in the PC industry if we talk about. So very quickly, Ekta, I hope this is sufficient for you. Quickly pour in your answer, guys. Okay, answers pouring in. So I think we should start now and review that why do we reckon that US as a country possibly has an advantage over the rest of the world when it comes to the PC industry. Factor conditions, yes, there's obviously a large population of well-trained engineers. So that technical know-how which is required to produce and to manufacture a PC of a high-grade value is definitely there in the US. Demand conditions, absolutely huge population. Every child also, possibly has their own gadgets that they are, referring to. Obviously, that is now true in India as well. But yes, US has had that competitive advantage over a very long number of years as well. Relating and supporting industries, your components that you require in the PCs, your, you can say the entire value chain proposition which is required for the PC industry to thrive, all of that is, spot on in the US. Firm strategy, structure, and rivalry. Yes, so it's, as a country itself, they are so entrepreneurial in nature. Anybody can, start having, and start manufacturing their own PCs, and only the ones who are good enough will be able to thrive in the market. So that is the kind of competitiveness, that is the kind of rivalry that they are encouraging as a nation. So, you want to open up a new company and, start producing your own PCs, you can very well do that. But whether you will be able to, beat the existing competition in the market or not will purely dependent upon the quality of the product that you are selling as an enterprise, right? So all of these factors put together definitely lead to US having a competitive advantage as, compared to other countries of the world, really. Let me quickly review your answers now. Meanwhile, you guys please quickly go through the model answer. Non-stop destination PC. Supporting industry, generally computer category falls under assembling industry, is therefore important for each industry to contribute for smoothing working of the computers. That's right. Rivalry between top companies, Apple, Microsoft, Google. That's right, Pearl. Supporting industries, technical through know-how is thriving. Yes, these are very good pointers, guys. Well done. I really like your answers, and definitely see, these are very small building steps that, together we are working towards in learning the skill of how to interpret models, how to apply models to the scenarios given to us. And obviously these scenarios are like one-liner scenarios that we are looking at as of now. Slowly and gradually, once we are done with the basic understanding of the models, we will move on to your practice and revision kit questions, and there we will have a look at huge case study scenarios then, right? Any doubt in this till now? Anything you want to ask? Because next model that we are doing is a very simple model. I'm sure all of you have used it in your lives as well. It's an amalgamation of, a model that evaluates a company's present strategies, position with respect to both the internal analysis of the organization as well as the external analysis of the organization. So a SWOT model, I'm sure you must have all done SWOT model, SWOT analysis of yourself at some point of time. So what are your own strengths and weaknesses, which are obviously factors which are internal to you, and what is it that the external environment throws at you in terms of the opportunities and threats that you may be facing. So this is basically just the SWOT analysis. Everybody knows what SWOT analysis is, but what I want you to quickly look at is a quick example before I open up a test question for you. So yes, internal, my own strengths, my own weaknesses, positive opportunities that the external environment throws at me, which I can possibly capitalize upon and, turn them into my strengths, and the external threats that I face as an organization, which I need to, cope up with, really are my threats as me as an individual or as an organization, really. So let's quickly have a look at this quick video on the SWOT analysis, and then I will open up a test question for you.
Okay, great. So in this lesson, our goal would be to apply the SWOT framework in practice. Shouldn't be that difficult, right? The company will
Okay, I just realized my internet got cut off, so I need to share the sound on Zoom again. Let me just play it for you again. So sorry, guys.
Okay, great. So in this lesson, our goal would be to apply the SWOT framework in practice. Shouldn't be that difficult, right? The company we'll examine is Starbucks, the well-known U.S. coffee company and coffeehouse chain. It was founded in Seattle in 1971 and operates in several countries around the world. Let's start with the company's strengths. First, almost everyone knows its brand, right? So it definitely has a strong brand recognition. Starbucks has been proclaimed the most recognized coffee brand in the world, quite an advantage regarding other companies in the industry. The firm's brand is one offering of a differentiated product to customers, which is coherent with its strategy and pricing. Clients have expressed they love the atmosphere in Starbucks coffee houses. They can use free Wi-Fi and enjoy the coffee drinking experience to the fullest. The company owns thousands of outlets around the world, and its clients can find it even when traveling overseas. That's a strong advantage, as it ensures loyal clients can remain such even overseas. And finally, Starbucks supply chain management ensures the quality of coffee served to customers is excellent. The company chooses its suppliers carefully, which improves the quality of its products and ensures clients receive a super coffee experience. This is another choice in sync with its differentiation strategy. Okay, very good. Let's take off our rosy glasses and consider some of the firm's weaknesses. One could argue Starbucks offers the same product in all countries where it operates. It does not customize it according to the different tastes of people in different geographies. For some customers, this is an issue, and they prefer competitor products tailored to their specific geographical preferences. In addition, Starbucks has a premium price policy, which is not in line with most customers' expectations. Not all countries have enough middle and high-income class individuals who can afford to pay extra for their coffee. Weakness number 3 would be the high employee turnover that the chain's coffee shops have. It is difficult to serve coffee as a premium product when the company's baristas have been on the job for only a couple of weeks. In terms of opportunities, we can say the following. Starbucks can access new countries easily. It simply has to apply its existing business model in these new geographies. Emerging markets can be a great source of growth for the company. Starbucks has also entered agreements within the entertainment industry and partnered with movie-producing companies. That can be a great opportunity for the firm, too. One of the biggest threats for Starbucks is the saturation of the American market, which is where most of its outlets are located. Consumers are increasingly invested in healthier lifestyle, and some substitute products are better positioned to capture the attention of the health-conscious clientele. Okay, we'll stop here. This is what a SWOT analysis looks like in practice. The depth of the observations included in the analysis depends on the information we have about the company. I'm sure an industry practitioner would be capable to prepare a much deeper analysis. However, the important point is you now know how to perform a SWOT analysis on your own, and you can distinguish the important questions from the rest when it comes to analyzing a company. SWOT analysis is a great tool that allows us to visualize and concentrate on some of the most important topics when analyzing a company. This will do for now. Thanks for watching.
Yes, so you can very well go ahead and do a SWOT analysis or watch related videos of SWOT analysis of many companies, which is already available on the YouTube. It's very interesting to know, the insights of an organization in this model. So how are we reviewing Zara as a company? How are we reviewing Starbucks? How are we reviewing, what is the position that you reckon is there of Coca-Cola as an industry leader? So yes, some of these examples are extremely useful examples for you to go ahead and watch. This is a good one. I'm not showing to you in the class. Reason being, it's a long video, but I'm sharing it with you. If you find the time, please go ahead and watch this video in full. I'm just sharing it with you as part of your overall, you can say, home study is what I will call it. It's a 10-minute video, so I can't actually play it in the class here. Right, but it's a good video. There you are. So now you have to tell me just the opportunities and threats. Remember, opportunities and threats are both posed by the external environment. So internally, we obviously cannot analyze because I have not been given that information of the company. But yes, overall, as a passenger train service, look at it from a Delhi Metro's perspective. It's a passenger train service. So what do you reckon are the opportunities and threats available, and they are impacting the Delhi Metro for that matter? So very quickly submit your answer, guys. Remember, just opportunities and threats. So just the external environment is what you need to analyze. Okay, I want everybody to quickly pour in the answers. So let's review your answers with the model answer. So yes, threats for a passenger train service like the Delhi Metro could be, the major threat, the most major threat obviously would be losing the license itself to, operate the service itself. Then maybe, attacks like terrorism could be like a threat then that they might be facing. Then some infrastructural loopholes could be a threat that they face, and then people, generally just don't want to travel by metro, possibly because of the increase in their lifestyle. So people, want to start traveling in their own cars, or maybe services like Ola and Uber giving them a tough time because now taking a personal cab and, traveling has also become so affordable that I really don't want to go and, travel in a passenger train service like a Delhi Metro. So that also could be one of the threats. And opportunities, what about opportunities? Obviously, you have to look at what happens if the government itself poses, a regulation wherein, remember the odd even thing that the government had imposed. So on those days, obviously the use of passenger train service like the Delhi Metro increased many-fold times. Why? Because odd number of cars could only run on certain days and even number cars could only run on certain days. So people who had only one car and were not allowed to use that car on that set day obviously had to rely upon the Delhi Metro per se. Then if people, more and more people becoming conscious about the use of local government, you can say, public transport instead of everybody taking their own cabs and traveling to their workspaces, that also is an opportunity that you can, possibly make an advantage of. Then possibly I can, introduce some innovative fares wherein the entire office gets, so the entire TCS staff gets like a 50% discount on their travel fares. That is also an innovative way that you can think of and, promote people making use of the public fares. And there are many other technological advantages also that you can, bring in. So look at the model answer very quickly, guys. Meanwhile, I will review your answers. Please read the model answer till then. And I will review your answers. Population, environmental concern, gaining customers by better providing services. Yes. Opportunities will increase demand for fast and hassle-free commute. Yes, absolutely. Who wants to be stuck on the road for 5 hours when the metro can take you in 1 hour max? So that is also another advantage that you can, that is also another opportunity that you can capitalize upon. Threats and free riders. Yes, that's a threat. Increase in demand for private cars poses a huge threat. Yes. So, private cabs like Ola and Uber definitely are a huge threat. Safety, yes. So terrorism is something that you can talk about. Growing favorism in public transport, yes. Threat will include the presence of private substitutes, widespread of network of cabs, absolutely yes. Very good answers given by the class there. Premium class seating offering to passengers. Yes, that is also something that you can possibly, look at as an opportunity. So we have a ladies only coach presently. Why not we introduce a high premium coach wherein you can provide services like, food while you're traveling on the metro, a limited sitting arrangement seat only, so people will not be standing on your head while in the metro. So all of these are various opportunities that you can, you can capitalize upon as an organization, right? Contracts with companies could be an opportunity. Absolutely right, Himanshu. Very good points there given by the class. Quickly go through the model answer as well. Please ask if you have any doubt here. Any doubt? Anything like per se you want to ask? Quickly have a look. Ask if you have any doubt in this question or the concept. Any doubt, or are we good to go ahead? Tell me. When can we use scenario analysis? So if the question is giving you information about various kind of scenarios that can possibly be there, so the question itself will hint you which model you should be using. That will only come with question practice, right, Madhavan? Unless the question is very specific in you using a particular model, which doesn't really happen in SBL. It's only your discretion. So like, and analyzing the external environment, I can make use of the pestle model. I can make use of the opportunities and threats model also. That's also an equally valid, model which is there to analyze the external environment of the business. However, depending upon the kind of content given to me in the scenario, I will, it will come to me that, okay, this is the model that I should possibly choose out of the various options available on me, right? Wonderful. Okay, so let's continue with the next model then, wherein we are looking at our own. This is an internal analysis model, wherein we are looking at our own. Can we merge two models and give answers? Himanshu, yes, you can, but it's not a very preferred way of writing because unnecessarily you will be duplicating a lot of effort. Whereas it's always better to just stick to one model and apply that model in full in the answer. So I would not ask you to, go ahead and write everything that you know of. That's not required really, right? That doesn't fetch you any extra marks as well. Okay, wonderful. So the next model we will study is, which will help us analyze our own internal analysis of us as an organization. What are my resources? What are my competencies? What are my core competencies? What all competencies can I capitalize to give me a competitive advantage as well? So that is my, internal analysis as an organization. So threshold capabilities means something which is very basic. So if you want to run a print media house, the basic thing you need is editors, you need printing machines, you would need, some basic tools per se, but that doesn't give you a competitive advantage. What possibly can give you a strategic capability is something which is considered unique, something which is considered a critical success factor for your business really. So that is something that, that you can capitalize upon, right? Understood the point of threshold capabilities, which are like very base level capabilities in terms of resources and competencies that is required. However, when you level it up, something that is considered valuable from the customer's perspective, that then becomes a strategic capability or a critical success factor, a CSF as we call it. And that unique resource, you want to convert it to become a core competency for yourself as a business. Not just once, but also sustain that competitive advantage for your business per se. Quickly read through the example which I have jotted down for you on the screen. Quickly read through it and then I'll, show you one more example. Done it? So yes, there's a difference between having a resource and having a unique resource. There's a difference in having competencies, that is, base level threshold competencies that you have, and then something that is valuable enough to give you a competitive advantage. Then that becomes a core competency, right? A core competency is what is capable of becoming a critical success factor, a CSF for you as a business. So now, if I need to, run an automobile industry really, I obviously need, good superior automobiles. I obviously need a good marketing agency. I obviously need a good, basic setup to be there. But I can make it a critical success factor when my my vehicles can be differentiated from the rest of the competition which is available. So that then becomes a critical success factor for my business. So it's very important for every business to identify what is it that makes them unique, what is it that makes them different from any other business per se, right? Let's quickly have a look at the critical success factors. And in today's time and age, knowledge, know-how, technical competency, your resources are the most sought after critical success factor for any business per se. I'll tell you how. So as soon as you think of Tata, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? That, this is the reason of Tata's success really. It could be it could be many capabilities, it could be a lot of things, but what is the one pivotal factor that would run to your mind as soon as you think of Tata Industries? And why do you think that, it's been able to thrive and survive and grow over so many years? Is there a driving force? Quality and brand name, absolutely yes. And the driving force behind all of this is what? Mr. Ratan Tata, I believe. So that is knowledge, that is resource, that is the kind of value, the kind of, you can say, quality that goes with the brand because it is resonated by the organizational knowledge. And then that becomes a strategic capability for the organization. Right, guys? So today, with the affluence of big data, with so much information available on us, organizational knowledge is what we find as one of the major drivers of a core competency within an organization. So much so that it is capable of giving an organization a competitive advantage, not just one, but to be able to sustain that competitive advantage as well. Right? Let's quickly go through it. Quickly go through organizational knowledge as a strategic capability. Why do I say that? Your resources, your technical know-how, your people in the industry are very important for you to retain as a business if you want to retain that competitive advantage as well. So as soon as I, think of Apple as a company, there are a few names that just, immediately pop up in your mind, isn't it? That is the kind of organizational knowledge that we are talking about. Quickly read through that how this knowledge, how this mobility, how this, this entire concept of technical experience, know-how, of learning curve capabilities can act as a competitive advantage for organizations. Done reading? Any queries? Anything you want to ask here? Any query, guys? Any questions? Because what I will do now is we will take a quick lunch break and then we shall continue with our chapter. So quick lunch break for 30 minutes and then we shall continue. Okay, so I hope everybody is back from lunch. Let's quickly start with it. Any doubts till now? Because now we're going to start off with a very important model, again given by Porter, which is called the Porter's value chain analysis. Now, this one model analyzes the organization's factors within the organization that are actually leading to that organization having a competitive advantage over its competitors, really. So what is it? What are those factors within the organization that are making them market leaders more than what their competitors are able to cope up with or offer to the society at large. Yes, these internal factors are going to be broken down into two factors: the primary value chain factors as well as the support or the secondary value chain factors. Primary, being the word primary, obviously are the most critical factors that any organization needs to take care of in terms of their entire value chain analysis or logistics, as we call it, to make sure that yes, your organization per se is the market leader. First thing, you obviously need to have a solid inbound logistics system, which means where you're securing your, procuring your supplies from, what quality of supplies are you procuring, what price you're procuring them at, what you can say, what quantities are being procured. So everything that has got to do with getting your raw materials from your supplier to your workhouse, to your workshop really. Up next, the most important process is going to be here at your premises, which is going to include the operations, where your raw materials that you have procured are going to be processed and your finished good is going to be ready. So all of that operations is going to be part of your value chain analysis. How in an excellent manner are you able to get this operation done, beating the competition, how your that turnaround process of from raw material to your finished good is giving you a competitive advantage from what the competition is able to do. Obviously, what do you do with the finished goods? You have to then take them to the vendors who will who will in turn sell them. So your outbound logistics, how how efficiently are you able to take your finished goods from your warehouses to the shops to at which they will be sold, at what quantities, at this refurbishment is being done, at what quality, at what pricing. So the entire outbound logistics is what we call and consider here in your third step, which is your outbound logistics. However good a product is, it needs a very strong sales and marketing team for the product to become visible to the end consumer, and that is what is going to give you a push in the market to be a market leader. So sales and marketing, again, extremely important. And in today's time and age and the era of social media, Twitter wars that we live in, definitely service, the value of the quality of the customer care service you're able to provide to the end consumer, even after having delivered, for any problems that they face, how the overall experience has been, whether they will come back to you or not, all of this is going to be dependent upon how strong your service has been in the first place. So these are the 5 factors that definitely are the primary value activities that you need to look into if you want to gain a competitive advantage in your industry. Obviously, these are going to be supported with your related or secondary activities like the overall infrastructure in the firm, the how efficiently you're able to manage the HR, the people in the organization, how much strong technological background do you have, and how strong is your procurement process per se. All of these are support activities that will in turn push the value chain analysis within the organization to make you a market leader, to give you a competitive advantage, not just once, but for you to be able to sustain that competitive advantage in the long run as well. All of these primary as well as support activities you need to constantly be looking at and constantly be better than the rest of the competition to be a market leader in your industry. Let's quickly have a look at each one of these factors first. I want you all to read through this once, please. So read through, some of the ideas that you can include in the inbound logistics, in the operations, marketing, sales, and the outbound logistics. I've already explained it to you, but I want you to read through the content as well once, please. Quickly read through it. Done reading, guys? Primary activities okay with everyone? Quickly read through the supporting or the secondary activities as well. Then we'll have a look at few industry examples to understand the concept of value chain analysis before I open up a test question for you. Quickly go through this. I've already explained the concept to you, but we will have a look at an industry example, and then we'll have a look at a test question as well. Yes, so that was a good one. And let's have a one very quickly. We've already seen how the value chain analysis of McDonald's works. Let's have a look at another industry example. Let me just share the link with you first.
Welcome to Notesmatic,
Oops.
your favorite
This one
marketing and
is
business.
for Pepsi. It's a very interesting one. So let's quickly watch this. Okay, I don't know what happened there.
Welcome to Notesmatic, your favorite marketing and business management blog. Today, we are going to talk about PepsiCo. Pepsi is one of the leading soda brands and the arch rival of Coca-Cola. We are going to present the value chain of Pepsi in this video. Pepsi is one of the two leading brands in the soda industry with a global presence and strong global sales and distribution network. Apart from being a highly competitive brand of non-alcoholic beverages and snacks, Pepsi is also the strongest rival of Coca-Cola. The company has managed its global distribution network with the support of distributors and retailers. In recent years, the brand has also expanded its product portfolio to include more health-friendly and snack products. While the soda industry has grown highly competitive, sustaining growth now requires a consistent focus on product quality, marketing as well as customer engagement. However, Pepsi has kept investing in digital marketing to grow customer engagement and retain its competitive advantage amidst heavy competition from Coca-Cola and other brands. One of the leading factors that have supported the growth and success of PepsiCo worldwide is its supply chain. The company has optimized its value chain to achieve the best results and cater to customer demand with higher efficiency. Michael E. Porter of the Harvard Business School introduced the concept of the value chain. This model includes the entire range of activities from the procurement of raw material to the production, marketing, sales, and after-sales service. Each of these stages adds value to the final product. Analyzing the value chain and optimizing it helps achieve superior results. Through the optimization of their value chains, companies can increase their operational efficiency as well as build new sources of competitive advantage. The value chain includes two kinds of activities: primary activities and support activities. Primary activities: the primary activities in Porter's value chain are concerned directly with the creation of products or services. Inbound logistics: inbound logistics refers to the inward flow of goods into business, which includes transport, storage, and delivery. Pepsi has a global supply chain and it sources raw materials from several nations around the world. The company works with thousands of suppliers around the world to source raw material and primarily agricultural raw material. The company has established a strong supply chain and distribution network. The integrated logistics function of the company plays a key role in the smooth operation of inbound logistics and to ensure that raw materials flow into the system seamlessly. In recent years, PepsiCo has made a lot of investment into its existing fleet to make it more efficient, modernized and environment-friendly. The company has established warehouses at key locations worldwide and in close proximity to its suppliers to reduce transportation and logistics-related expenses. Pepsi also uses advanced software for inventory management and to manage logistics. PepsiCo has divided its global operations into 6 areas or geographical divisions, which include Frito-Lay North America (FLNA), PepsiCo's branded food and snack businesses in the United States and Canada. Quaker Foods North America (QFNA), PepsiCo's cereal, rice, pasta and other branded food businesses in the United States and Canada. North America Beverages (NAB), PepsiCo's beverage businesses in the United States and Canada. Latin America, PepsiCo's beverage, food and snack businesses in Latin America. Europe Sub-Saharan Africa (ESA), PepsiCo's beverage, food and snack businesses in Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa, and Asia, Middle East, and North Africa (AMENA), PepsiCo's beverage, food and snack businesses in Asia, Middle East and North Africa. The company has also established a large network of offices, distribution centers, warehouses, plants, and other facilities. Outbound logistics concerns the outward flow of goods from inside the organization, or simply put, the distribution and sales network of a company. Outbound logistics plays a major role in the value chain of a company and is a critical link whose efficiency ensures operational effectiveness and business success. Pepsi has maintained a strong international presence through its multi-channel distribution network. The company brings its products to the market to its customers through a mix of various sales and distribution channels. Pepsi primarily uses direct store delivery (DSD), customer warehouse and distributor networks to bring its products to the market. However, the kind of channel used depends on the needs of the customers, characteristics of the product as well as the local trade practices. PepsiCo operates the direct store delivery systems with the help of its bottlers and distributors. The DSD systems deliver beverages, foods, and snacks to the retail stores where they are merchandised by PepsiCo employees or the independent bottlers of the company. The DSD system allows PepsiCo to merchandise its products with higher visibility and appeal, which is profitable for the company. This system is most suited for the distribution of the products that are restocked more often. Some of the Pepsi products are delivered from its manufacturing plants and warehouses to the customer warehouses. The less fragile and perishable products with lower turnover are mainly distributed through this channel. PepsiCo also utilizes third-party distributors for the distribution of several of its products. The company uses them when it has to distribute a large range of products and include them on the same delivery vehicle. The food service and vending businesses of Pepsi use third-party distributors and operators to distribute beverages, food, and snacks to restaurants, businesses, schools, and stadiums. Pepsi is excellent in terms of marketing, and it is one of the key focus areas in its value chain, since the company is a part of a highly competitive industry where marketing is essential to maintain demand and sales. Coca-Cola is the biggest rival of Pepsi, and to maintain its competitive position, the company makes a large investment in advertising and promotions each year. Apart from digital channels of promotions including social media, the company also uses outdoor promotions to advertise its products and for customer engagement. Video marketing has also played a key role in growing the popularity of Pepsi brands and products throughout the world. Pepsi offers a large and diversified range of beverages, snacks, and food products. The product portfolio of Pepsi includes beverages, low-calories beverages, as well as a large range of healthy snacks and food products. A highly diversified product portfolio has also helped the company find faster growth in terms of overall sales and revenue. Thanks for watching.
Right.
Learn more
So
about
how did you find the value chain analysis of PepsiCo? Tell me.
Pepsi's value chain,
Have you
including support.
understood the perspective of how a value chain analysis of an entire organization, it's everything put together that makes an organization a winner as compared to your competitors. You cannot ignore the primary factors. At the same time, you need a very, very strong supporting factors for the organization overall to be able to gain a competitive advantage with respect to the competition. Why is procurement a secondary value chain activity, ma'am? It depends. So procurement is just only first step, really, right? It's a very big part of your inbound logistics as well. There it becomes part of your primary activities. But yes, your vendors, how you're procuring, maybe your day-to-day, operational stuff, all of that would also be part of procurement, not just the raw materials. So it depends upon what is considered in inbound logistics as the primary activity, and what probably in terms of your, procurement activity of what you are getting to be able to get your raw material can be considered as part of your secondary activities. Right, Madhavan? Let me open up a question for you so that you can have a quick heads up of what is it that a value chain analysis for an organization will be like. Now, this is again a very interesting question. And like I said, there's no one right or no one wrong answer in SBL. Your answers would be perfectly fine as much as my answer would be. But what we need to, understand in this process while we are preparing our, short notes to give us submissions is to how to collate information from the scenarios, link it to the models that we've studied, and to be able to apply that knowledge to the scenario. So very quickly, everybody, you need to consider how the activities in the value chain for the proposed restaurant could be used to create such a competitive position. So how Nicole can make use of all the parameters of the value chain analysis in order to ensure that her restaurant is the #1 restaurant in the area that we are talking about. So very quickly, guys, very practical question, and very much, something which will give you a skill for life. If you want to be an entrepreneur, 2 years down the line when you're done with your qualifications and, you're done with your basic studies and all. So yes, all this kind of knowledge is something which is a lifelong skill, definitely. So very quickly apply it, please. Guys, make sure you're putting in all the factors of your value chain analysis and then giving me the answer. Just in case you want this, just to help you with framing the answer, obviously, because it's something which is like kind of new for you. Okay, how do I put this in the same screen so that the question also remains visible? And at the same time, you can make use of the structure. Okay, this I think should help. Is it good enough? Okay, let me place it here. Is it good enough for you? So you can at least see the parameter, the factors which are there. Use it to structure your answer and link it to this new Mediterranean restaurant which Nicole is planning to open up. Keep submitting your answers, guys. Yes, look at each aspect, the primary activities as well as the support activities, and link it to the scenario. What do you think would be the most critical success factors for this Mediterranean restaurant to be a success? Not just a success, but achieve competitive advantage more than its competition as well. So quickly do this. Okay, answers pouring in. Do you need more time, guys, or are you done? Okay, I'm sure you must be done by now. So let's quickly have a look at what's happening here. Nicole has inherited a restaurant from her uncle. This particular restaurant had been underperforming and was actually closed for 6 months ago. Nicole wants to begin a new restaurant in the premises with a new name as well as a new cuisine. So she has performed some market research in the area and determined that there is demand for a restaurant offering Mediterranean cuisine. There is little local competition for such cuisine, but there are many other local restaurants offering a wide range of cuisines. Nicole had decided to follow a differentiation strategy for her restaurant and to charge premium prices. It's a niche segment that you're looking at. It's a specialized cuisine that you're looking at. Definitely the most important, thing that you would be looking out for here is your inbound logistics. Are you able to, get the raw materials that this Mediterranean cuisine is going to, require in the first place? Will you be able to fetch these raw materials at a good price, or is it going to be crazy high, expensive, or importing these prices for you as well? So you have to look at it from an inbound logistics perspective in terms of the ingredients that are going to be required. Operations, definitely you need what? You need a specialist chef to be able to convert this raw material into a presentable and a tasty Mediterranean cuisine in the first place. Otherwise, how is it that your product is going to be ready? So that is something which is extremely important. The cooking of the Mediterranean food, it should look authentic. You definitely need, one of the most important resources you need is a chef who specializes in preparing Mediterranean cuisine in the first place. Outbound will obviously include the entire, ambience, the experience of your restaurant, basically. How are you able to add value to that entire dining experience looking genuine Mediterranean dining experience? So all of that is something that you have to be looking at. Marketing, definitely, since you are looking to charge a premium price for your restaurant, for your offerings, you have to match it with a marketing strategy that places you in the heads of the consumer as a differentiated, as a differentiated product, really. So that is also something which is extremely important. Service goes without saying. It's a restaurant business. If you don't provide good service, nobody's going to come back, right? So you need to be very, very focused on delivering high quality service at all times. Your waiters, your staff need to be very courteous in the way they interact. They need to be knowledgeable, because I personally don't know much about Mediterranean cuisine. So as a customer, I would need help from the staff, from the waiters, to tell me that what all ingredients are possibly there in this particular dish. Is it something that is going to be of my interest or not? Possibly suggest some extra dishes to go along with that. Okay, this XYZ dish complements with A by Z, or probably what wine goes with what particular dish. All of that is something that you have to be looking at as a wholesome package, as a bang on Mediterranean experience that you are able to provide to the end consumer. Obviously supported by support activities in terms of HR perspective. You obviously need a good chef, you need good staff, you need people who know the Mediterranean theme, the Mediterranean cuisine, the Mediterranean, buzz and feel like it is going to be. Procurement, you have to look at from where are you getting your supplies. If you're going to import them, it's going to be very expensive. If you can grow them organically, locally, what is the shelf life of each of the products that you are using? You cannot use stale products. You cannot, try to expedite the production quality before it is actually ripe. The ingredients have to be ripe if you're sourcing them locally as well. Technology, maybe, kind of that, are you giving an option to reserve your table? Are you giving an option to reserve an exclusive setup, an exclusive cabana that you're probably setting up? Or are you giving away take home away meals? Are you, offering uh, food service as well, like home delivery services as well? How do you maintain the standard of Mediterranean cuisine being fresh and, delivered hot as well? All of that would be part of the technological process that you have to look at. And then support industry definitely would be, it has to be supported by a solid infrastructure, which is going to let the entire experience look like a seamless experience and a genuine experience of having a Mediterranean cuisine. So before I actually jot down and review your answers, I want you to first go through the model answer very quickly. Everybody, please read through the model answer once, and then we'll review your answers as well. Done reading? Do you want me to scroll down? Done reading model answer? I've already discussed all of these points, but I want you to very quickly go through the model answer once as well, very quickly. Done reading, guys? Any questions? Any queries you have with respect to this particular question, to the value chain analysis model? Any queries? Any queries? Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay. What I really want to do is show you one more example of value chain analysis, simply because it's very interesting. Let's take up a good one. Let's see if we can find another industry relevant example here. So we've done Pepsi, we've done McDonald's. Let me see if I can find a good example for you. Pepsi one we've seen. McDonald's also I've shown you. I think I've already chosen the good examples for you already here. But just continue with your YouTube search and you can look at more real life examples which are talking about value chain analysis. Okay, let me see. There has to be another good example really here. We could, diagnose another industry really and look at what's happening. Okay, I think I've already shown you the good ones. Nothing really remains. Okay, nonetheless, what we will do now is we will definitely open a full-fledged question to look at a value chain analysis question as well. Starbucks, have you seen Starbucks?
From bean to cup, how Starbucks transformed its supply chain.
Okay, let's quickly have a look at Starbucks example as well. Let me just share the link with you. Because the more examples we will see in real life, we will get ideas as to how practically companies across the world are making use of the entire value chain analysis to basically get to be a market leader. So let's quickly have a look at this one as well.
A well-run supply chain helps baristas pour good Starbucks coffee. Because bean to cup is a complicated process. Starbucks Corporation's 16,700 retail stores serve 50 million customers in 51 countries each week. Coffee and other merchandise must be sourced from around the world and delivered successfully. Starbucks wasn't sure its supply chain met this goal in 2008. The company's operational costs rose as sales cooled, indicating something was wrong. Supply chain expenses in the U.S. rose from $750 million to $825 million between October 2007 and October 2008, but sales for U.S. stores open at least a year fell by 10%. Reorganization plan. Starbucks' supply chain transformation was top-down. Howard Schultz, then chairman, president, and CEO, tapped Gibbons to run the company's supply chain in 2008. Gibbons held a similar position at ACCA Americas Incorporated's The Glidden Company before joining Starbucks in 2007. Gibbons first assessed how well the supply chain served stores and where costs came from. Less than half of store deliveries were on time. We weren't focusing enough on store service, he says. Gibbons then visited Starbucks stores to see the situation and speak with employees. The visits confirmed our supply chain could improve, he says. Customer-facing employees best judged need for change. Starbucks' success was a hindrance. The supply chain had to keep up with the company's rapid store openings around the world. Peter D. Gibbons, Executive Vice President of Global Supply Chain Operations, says the company grew so fast it neglected supply chain fundamentals. As a result, supply chain operating costs rose sharply, he says. Starbucks must change its operations to reduce costs and improve performance. Here are Gibbons' steps and their results. Complexity simplified. Starbucks began reorganizing its supply chain in late 2008. Gibbons simplified a complex structure so every job fell into one of four supply chain functions: plan, source, make, and deliver. The planning group included anyone involved in production planning, replenishment, or new product launches. Coffee and non-coffee sourcing were separated. Starbucks spends $600 million annually on coffee. Other annual purchases include dairy products, baked goods, store furniture, and paper goods. The make functional unit handled all in-house and contract manufacturing. The deliver group included transportation, distribution, and customer service workers. After reorganizing supply chain functions, departments focused on reducing costs and increasing efficiencies. The sourcing group worked to identify price hiking cost drivers. We broke down items by ingredient rather than purchase price, Gibbons says. We built better sold cost models, including benchmarking ingredients and processes, to negotiate better prices. The manufacturing group developed a more efficient model for delivering coffee beans to its processing plants in order to manufacture where the product is sold. Starbucks had plants in Kent, Washington, Minden, Nevada, and York, Pennsylvania. In 2009, the company opened a plant in Columbia, South Carolina. Regionalizing Starbucks coffee production reduced transportation costs and lead times, says Gibbons. After the new facility opened, U.S. coffee plants switched from 7-day to 5-day operations. One global logistics system. Starbucks' extensive supply chain required a global logistics system. The company ships Latin American, African, and Asian coffee beans to the U.S. and Europe. Green, unroasted, beans are trucked from the port of entry to 6 storage sites near a roasting plant. After being roasted and packaged, the beans are trucked to 200,000 to 300,000 square foot regional distribution centers. Starbucks has 5 regional distribution centers in the U.S., 2 are company-owned and 3 are operated by third-party logistics companies, 3PLS. It has 2 3PL-managed European and Asian distribution centers. These warehouses hold more than just coffee. They handle furniture and cappuccino mix for Starbucks stores. Depending on their location, stores are supplied by regional DCs or CDCs. Starbucks uses 33 CDCs in the U.S., 7 in Asia/Pacific, 5 in Canada, and 3 in Europe. All but 1 are operated by 3PLS. CDCs sell dairy, baked goods, and paper cups and napkins. They combine the coffee with other items and deliver it via dedicated truck fleets to Starbucks stores and retail outlets that sell Starbucks branded products. Gibbons and his team improved both delivery costs and execution. One of their first steps was to build a global map of Starbucks transportation expenditures, which involved gathering supply chain costs by region and by customer. Starbucks retained only the best transportation carriers after analyzing its spending. Logistics reviewed productivity and contract rates with 3PLS. The team created weekly scorecards to review vendors. Our partners agreed to clear service, cost, and productivity metrics, Gibbons says. Company trust. Starbucks has cut costs globally without compromising service since transforming its supply chain. Gibbons, as a company, we've saved over $500 million in the last 2 years. And the supply chain was a major contributor. Gibbons considers the transformation successful. There's a lot of confidence in our supply chain to execute every day, make 70,000 deliveries a week, and get new products to market, he says. We're confident that focusing on service and quality will meet the needs of our stores and other business customers. Starbucks recently began recruiting top supply chain education program graduates to ensure future talent flow. For more, see Starbucks, the next generation, along with its recruiting program. The company plans to provide ongoing supply chain training for its existing employees. Gibbons, we want supply chain thought leaders. Gibbons spends 40 to 50% of his time developing, hiring, and retaining supply chain talent. Starbucks will be able to stay focused on its supply chain mission of delivering high-quality products at low costs to its US and global stores.
See how Starbucks has been so effectively able to make use of all the aspects. They've been able to manage all the aspects of the supply chain management, and that is what makes them a market leader. Now, in the scenario as well, whenever you are being asked to make a value chain analysis of the industry, of the company in which you're talking about, you have to follow a similar approach. You have to follow a similar exhaustive approach wherein we are looking at each of these elements individually and talking about each of these aspects, both primary as well as secondary activities, and how together they are able to bring that advantage, that competitive advantage to the organization. Any queries so far, guys? We've done quite a lot of good models today. So quickly revise them. And what I will do after this is I will open up your practice and revision kit, and I will mark your homework for all the questions that you can do at home as part of your homework before we meet in the next class. And then out of these homework questions, you can tell me which one do you want me to take up in the class together with you, right? So quickly revise. Ask if you have any doubts. Any doubts? Any doubts? Because I will then just quickly open up your book. Okay, where is my book? Let me just open up my book. Let me come back. Okay, so let me just quickly open up your practice and revision kit, and then we will have a look at the questions that we can do. Where is my book? I had opened it, I think. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So I'm going to mark. We don't have books, ma'am, just ordered. You will get it before your next week's class. So just again, I'm giving you the contact person's number. Reach out to Sandeep and get the books ordered for yourself. And as soon as you get the books, please, do a good question practice of all the topics that we've done today. And tell me which one of these particular questions you want me to take up in the class with you as well. So I'm just going to mark the topics that we've already covered. And we are good to, start with question practice on these topics. Okay, let me go back to the previous page. There you are. Okay, so which one of these have we done for now? Environmental analysis, the pestle model we've done. So all of these questions, question number 12, 13, A50, A51, A53B, all of these questions you can start doing as practice questions, please. We have done the industry analysis with the help of Potter's 5 forces model. So let me mark this as well. So again, question number 12, 13A, 14 and 50A. Second part is something that you can attempt. You can tell me which one of these questions you want me to take up in the next class, which I will surely take up. We've done the national competitive advantage, Potter's diamond model also. So we've covered this topic also. We have done the strategic management process, just a generic thing that is. We have done the SWOT analysis as well, and also have covered the value chain. So yes, there are a lot of questions which you can start practicing from your practice and revision kit. Each and every question of the topics that I've just marked today have to be done by you. If you don't get the books by this week, you have to do them by the following week. But believe you me, if you start procrastinating it, it will never ever happen. And as we go through the classes, I am going to keep on covering the content refer to the book and tell you the questions to do, and that pylon will never end if you are not religious in your studies along with me. Very important. Which chapters from the book are done? Eta, just refer to these questions. The requisite chapters in the book are also done. So you will be able to get it from your index table itself. Let me open up the workbook also for you. Just give me a moment. So the same topics that we've done today are replicated in your books also, from which I have prepared my PPT. So the same topic name you can look out from your workbook also and read through them as we go through the classes. Let me just go back to my workbook. Let me open up my workbook for you. Let me just stop sharing for a second, please, because it's not allowing me to open up my workbook like that. Okay, so my workbook is not opening for some reason, but I will just try it once again. Let me log back in. But the same topics that you know of already, all your models that we've done in yesterday's class and in today's class, obviously the same topics you can refer to from your books also, and start with reading of those topics, understanding of those topics. Okay. I have been able to open it up. So let me share my screen again, guys. Just give me a moment. Okay. I will do this once for you, just to how to read through the headers. Thereafter, you can identify the topics yourself, obviously. Okay. So this part here in your workbook, so the external environment, all of this we have already covered. Yes, that's about it. That's all we've done from your book's perspective. So that is, these are the topics, these are the workbook chapters that you can definitely read, as we have already covered this topic in the class itself, right? Don't worry, I will be covering each and every topic which is there in your SBL syllabus in the class. How I have framed my slides could be a little different from what format it is following in the book. But the reason why I've taken it this way is that you are going to slowly and gradually understand each and every concept and, link it to the real life world in which we are living. So I'm just trying to make it more interesting for you so that, you can resonate it with the real life scenarios as well, right? Any queries, guys? Please let me know if you have any issues, any queries you want, me to address. Will we be provided with ebooks as well? So when you purchase the physical book, the ebook code is given to you for free in the physical book itself. So you can do that very well, right? Again, reach out to the team at VGLD. I've already provided you with the number of the concerned person who takes care of both the physical as well as the ebook section. So that is something that you can, reach out to the team again for. Anything else? Any other query, guys? Okay, then thank you so much for attending the session today. And please do your homework before you come for the next class, which is going to be next Saturday now. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.